eyes of New York City and my body and my wallet are tapping out. It has been non-stop action.
Well, it's time to say goodbye to our RV adventure visiting New York City. We showed you how we drove here, where we stayed, and also a couple trips to our top places to visit. By the end of the 3-day trip, we were exhausted. We did have one more big day out in the city that we haven't showed you yet, and here's the quick highlight reel. We started our day out at the 9/11 Memorial and Museum at the World Trade Center site, where the Twin Towers once stood. We've been here one time before, but we wanted to make sure we came to visit this time as well. Although we didn't get a chance to go into the museum, just standing on the 8-acre memorial grounds is a feeling that's hard to explain. Most of us can remember exactly where we were and what we were doing on September 11th, 2001. But being at the actual site of the deadliest terrorist attack in human history is completely humbling. By mid-morning, we made our way over to Bryant Park. 1, for the public restroom, and 2, to do a little people watching in one of the favorite tourist and local calming green spaces before heading to arguably the most hectic place in the city.
Are you even in New York if you don't go to Times Square? Getting in with all the marquees and the lights and the heat, it's hot, there's people everywhere, there's energy, and I love it. But you gotta watch out for those scammers. There's people everywhere trying to get your money, there's people giving out free CDs. I had Minnie Mouse trying to take my picture today. There's so many people here. We're just pulling over, we're doing some people watching.
A few blocks from Times Square is the iconic Rockefeller Building. In our research, we found the top of the Rock Observatory deck to have the best elevated view of the New York City skyline, mainly because you can see the most famous building of them all, the Empire State Building. And we were all set to make the splurge, but one thing we found out over the 3-day visit was finding places to park and lock up your bike in the city are far and few. And the few that we did find were packed full. So we just ended up biking around and checking out more of the views from the street. We decided to escape the busy midtown Manhattan area to the quieter neighborhood of West Village for a little lunch. We ended up settling on the Caliente Cab Co., which is a Mexican cafe, and now that I think about it, that's a pretty unusual name for a restaurant. But regardless, we picked it out for its quiet patio spot and authentic food. Chris and I shared the birria quesadillas and the carne asada tacos, and they were amazing. They recommended trying the Mexican French fries, which are house-cut potatoes sprinkled with tahini, which is one of Chris's favorite seasonings. If you haven't tried it, you got to. For a little fun dessert, we went to the famous Eileen's Cheesecake that has been voted as some of the best cheesecake in America. She started her dream in 1974 out of her apartment kitchen before growing demand allowed her to open her own bakery in Manhattan only 1 short year later. Not only are they handmade daily, but their fun little twist is they have about 20 flavors to choose from, and they come in tiny single-serving cheesecakes. That, of course, allows you to try multiple flavors at a time without feeling guilty one bit. We had a really fun time filming this. The final morning before we packed up the RV, we went to the nearby grocery store, just beating the giant storm that came in fast and furious. We were all safe, but it ended up completely destroying our neighbor's awning that they had left out while going to explore the city. That was good. Alright, visual check. Jaws closed. Okay. beat checkout time by 15 minutes. I guess we're doing better than our neighbor's awning. Yeah, that arm's completely bent. That's, you know, these awnings, you cannot leave your awning out. I don't know who needs to scream that from the top of the Empire State Building, but you can't do it. I don't know. There's no way around it. You can't do it. All right, go ahead and pull out as straight as you can. Goodbye, New York City. All right, so we made checkout by 15 minutes, and two things we figured out. Don't wait till the last day to get fuel, and don't wait for the last day to get directions out of here, because the lady that's usually up front is not there. So, I mean, I have a rough idea of how we want to get out of here, and it's just, you know, there's so many options. It just helps to hear from somebody firsthand a little bit more, because, you know, getting out of here, you're still, even though we're not in New York City, we're still like in big city traffic, and we still have to cross back over to New York, whether it's the George Washington Bridge or the Tappan Zee Bridge, or even farther up north. So finally, the RV Life Pro GPS is routing us to the right direction. And one thing we really don't like about this is it never gives us any options. So even when we were going the complete opposite direction, it was still trying to route us back through New York over the George Washington Bridge. And you can see we came from right about here. Yes, that is the shortest way over the George Washington, through the Bronx and through the major traffic. And just by going out of the city and up and around on 287, the route wasn't that much far different, and it's just a lot more peaceful, relaxing of a drive.
Yeah, you know, I've got to say, this driving into New York City and out of New York area, I should say, because we didn't actually drive, towing all the way in there, is the most stressful drive we've ever done. And I don't know if you and I like city driving, so that says a lot. Like, I thrive driving in the city, and this has been stressful. So if you really hate city driving and you don't really like have this huge on your bucket list, then you might just want to stay out of it.
Researching this was really, really difficult. I mean, you're trying to read through blogs from the past decade, and you got everybody's opinion and people telling you to take parkways and people telling you not to take parkways, and you know, there's just a lot of things that we don't know.
And every RV is a different length. Every RV is a different height. Even the fifth wheels, you have some oddball, really, really tall ones that you can't even like lump into one bucket, right?
You know, that's the beauty about YouTube and visually seeing the way that we route. We're not telling people to go that way. We're showing people the way we went.
Yeah, that's true. This is just what we did.
I will say it's nice to have as an option, because it does keep you off of no truck routes. So if, you know, you did have to follow it, you know, it should be taking you on an RV safe route.
Yeah.
All right, so we took the long way around the city. We should be fine, right? Well, we weren't out of the woods yet, because the New England area is notorious for low bridges, and that's exactly where we're headed. Now, because we were unsure of the northern part of the Garden State Parkway, even though that was the most direct route, we decided to drive around and make our way to 287. This highway ran north out of the New York City area before turning east to cross the Hudson River on the Tappan Zee Bridge, or I guess now it's called the Governor Mario M. Kimono Bridge, depending on which road sign you read. But that's not the most stressful part. The stress definitely continues as you get onto Highway 95 crossing into Connecticut. About 15 minutes in, we start seeing the low bridge signs, and we certainly didn't expect to see a 13-foot 5 bridge, the exact height of our RV. Luckily, we were in the middle lane and had enough time to move all the way over to the left on the high side of the bridge. but we just as easily could have been on the right side all the way over with no room to move. I remember saying to myself, I don't know how RVs don't hit these bridges. And as we continued, I found out some of them actually do. A few more low bridge signs later, we come up on this unmarked bridge, and when I look closer, and you could see where there was contact on the bridge here in the left lane. And then on the right lane, the sign was visibly smashed with what looked to me like an RV air conditioner going right through it. Just crazy. And this is on a major interstate highway. I'm telling you all, be careful out there in the New England area driving these tall RVs. Well, we made it through Connecticut without losing one of our ACs and passed in the great state of Rhode Island. Lil Rhodey, the smallest of the United States, home to over 400 miles of coastline, apparently held the US's first circus in 1774 and currently holds the record to the most bridges over 14 feet. No, wait, I take that last one back. This innocently enough looking troll mural painted on the side of this bridge distracted me for just a second until I read the 13'7" sign and then saw the evidence once again scraped onto the ceiling by some poor RVer. We cleared this bridge unscathed and surprisingly ran into our only real traffic jam on this route, passing through Providence and across the river. We did encounter one more pucker passing bridge signed with 13'5" before heading towards the Cape Cod area and finally making it into our campsite for the next 10 days. Ready to explore. Yeah, pull forward nice and slow. Okay, you're good, you're good, you're good, you're good, keep going. Whoa, stop, 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 stop. The camera was... No, the camera was just gonna hit the pin. Okay, you're good. This morning, we're headed to Boston. We're just over an hour away from our campsite here by Cape Cod. Okay, make sure we got everything before we go. We got the keys to the bikes, we got the helmet, camera.
Money, IDs.
Got everything. And believe it or not, Boston was our very first vlog that we have ever done.
Ever.
What do you think about Boston? Seriously.
It's really cool.
Wow.
I love the buildings. It's so like architecturally unique, and it has the old charm of like a Savannah or a Charleston, but it has way more energy. Ever. It's such a special memory to have, and I'm so excited to be in the city where it all began.
Yeah, so we actually did YouTube for a few months before, but we were just doing cooking with Chris and, you know, some other small RV videos, but...
In case you missed it, I had my own Food Network TV show in the van, and I made about 50 recipes, mostly on a skillet, 10-inch skillet. That was my jam.
Yeah, and it was fun doing that. But we're on the East Coast, we're sleeping in the van in the middle of New York City, and we get to Boston, and we're like, why are we not recording this? It was actually New York that really set it off, like, hey, we gotta record what we're doing. So if you want to see a cringy old video from 4 or 5 years ago, I'll link our very first vlog video below. But for now, let's head to Boston.
Yes, and fair warning, Aaron told me we look about 10 years younger in that video, even though it was only 5 years ago.
Van life adds some years to your life.
Okay, here we go. Diesel preheat in progress.
So, parking in Boston. This is another one of those tough ones. They like to put 2-hour limits on all of their metered street parking. So being in a big dually 1-ton truck, you know, that limits our options quite a bit. There are, of course, lots that you can park in, but there are some resident requirements that you might have to deal with. So we're gonna head over to D Street where we actually took the van to 5 years ago. So we know there's a parking lot there that can handle a bigger vehicle. The price has gone up quite a bit. It's no longer $20 for 24-hour parking. I think I saw a sign that said $30 for 3 hours.
Whoa.
So we're gonna look around that neighborhood when we get into Boston, and we're just gonna see how parking goes.
We are not messing around today. We found the first attractive street parking that we could find. It's free, there's no limitation on hours, and those are both things that are great to us. So we're actually in Joe Moakley Park, and it's on the south end of South Boston, which means it's a few miles from the touristy destinations that we are going to. However, since we're on bike and not walking, it's not a huge deal, and we would rather bike that distance versus wasting time driving for something closer.
We had to stop by quick on the lot on D. This is the place where we first brought our van, and
we parked right here.
We literally did. This was exactly where we parked, and it was a really good spot. They were allowing us to park overnight. It was $25, but now the rates have changed drastically. And right on D Street, there's a lot of great metered parking, but again, it's 2-hour parking, and that is just not enough time to see the city. So you kind of got to find those little sweet spots on where to park.
This was one of the areas that we weren't able to see on our last trip here in 2019. Boston's Chinatown is the third largest Chinatown in the United States. And we're standing in front of the Chinatown Gate, which is the entrance. This gate is very magnificent, and it was gifted to the city of Boston by Taiwan itself in 1982. And it says, "Everything under the sky is for the people." Now in there you'll be winding streets with plenty of restaurants and shops, fresh produce, excellent seafood. I don't know if Aaron plans to meander through there at all. We'll test our luck, but it certainly smells good and it's busy. The Boston Common is an excellent spot to either start or find your way to because it is a beautiful green park area. There's lots of people lounging, there's pigeons, there's lots of food vendors, and this is where the Freedom Trail starts. You can do the Freedom Trail on your own by foot for free and see a lot in the city. You can also join in on a guided tour if you want to pay to learn a little bit more about the history. And we always love to share restroom information. There is even a visitor center here, which has restrooms, it has some merchandise available for sale, and pamphlets, things like that, so you can go explore the city. But be warned, it smells really good, like fried dough. You're gonna wanna pick up some goodies while you're here, maybe get a spot and lounge out and eat. Speaking of eating, Aaron and I'm pushing Aaron, we gotta get to lunch here because I'm getting hungry. If you're all about energy of people, lots of like shopping and restaurants, patios, drinks, then you need to come to Faneuil Hall and Quincy Market. I think this is the most popular place to come. There's no doubt the energy is high. and it smells so good. We're already thinking of sidetracking our plans just to sit down and enjoy this special area. Leaving Quincy Market, we rolled into North Boston, and this is where Little Italy is. It's where Paul Revere's house is, and so we had to stop at Paul Revere's house, which I learned is the second oldest building in Boston. No, I don't know what the first oldest building is. That was Aaron's question, sorry, but it was still really cool to see. And I also learned he had 16 children, 8 with his first wife. His first wife died very shortly after her 8th child was born, and then his second wife had 8 children as well. Wow. And then we came and saw the Paul Revere statue, which is just across the street from where we are right now, at a cute little Italian restaurant on a patio on a beautiful sunny day. We're going to get some classic pasta. We rarely get Italian food, but we do love it. And this place makes all of their pasta by scratch. So Aaron went classic with the carbonara, and I also went classic with lasagna and meatballs. And fun fact, Aaron does not like red sauce, so I rarely get any red sauce, and so that's why I just said all I want is like spaghetti and meatballs or lasagna and meatballs, and I am so excited, and I'm starving. So good.
It's been a long time since we've had pasta. Good pasta.
So good. The pasta is so good. And this has veal in it. It just smells like basil. Just fragrant basil. And a nice, warm, hot tomato sauce. It's so good. We had an excellent lunch that was hard to top. And once again, we are going to be opportunistic dessert eaters. There is a rivaling feud on who makes the best cannoli here between Mike's Pastries and the Modern Pastry Store. So we're gonna see if there's, by chance, a little to zero line at either one, which is very unlikely because we hear there's a long line at both of them. But we're gonna test our luck, and if it looks good, we're gonna stop. And if it doesn't, we're gonna keep on going. We have one ultimate final destination left on our agenda today.
I know sooner or later it will come, the day that I know I'm in love. Will it feel warm and dry like a kiss in July? Will it chill down my bones? Will it cool like the snow? And I look at my window to see what the universe has in store for me.
We got it. We got the goods.
Nice. Let's get to Fenway Park and we'll eat it there.
I'm gonna put this in the bike right next to my meatballs. He asked me if I wanted a bag, and I said yes, and I didn't know it would be this cool. I got a red hat. Because I just wanted it. I've wanted it for so many reasons, and to get it here at Fenway Park, it's worth the splurge for official NBA prices, right? I mean, yeah, MLA. I'm MLB. I'm overstimulated.
Did you get a red hat or a Red Sox hat?
It's a Boston Red Sox red hat. And I got some official postcards.
Okay, we need to find out where to park our bikes.
I know, that's why I was rushing. I was so rushing. I have never been so excited for a baseball field or any sort of a guided tour in general. I think this is really special. I can't wait. There's a lot of people in this tour.
Yeah, it's huge. Here we go.
Call this the wow ramp.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Get to the top, people go.
Wow. It's been a long time since we've been in a park. A little bit of batting practice going on.
Wouldn't my dad love it here?
Oh yeah.
And my brother-in-law, John.
Now you see the scoreboard between balls and strike, the open screen?
Yep.
Like the open in the wall? That's where the photographer was that shot Carlton Fisk going down the line.
Oh really?
Yeah.
So off to a good start. They stayed there until the end of 1911. That's when the owners bought this land. It's about 9 acres of 37
We just heard these seats are 90 years old.
We'll get up there later. But right
90.
now, what we're gonna do is mix them on either
Pretty good
side,
condition.
go on up, and,
Oak and iron.
Pretty soon we're gonna be 90.
we have a small
Kind of love is right now. I really feel I am flying, releasing my troubles. And although you're so far, I really feel we're entwined. We'll wait till it's right for us to be looking at the stars from my balcony, wondering about what the future will bring. Oh, we'll have made it so far.
As soon as Mike clears everyone out.
Look at that catcher's mitt.
That's what I was trying to get your attention. There's 3 really cool old mitts. Really old. Look at 1901 to 1908.
Look at this. I think this is the progression of chairs. It was like first, second, third, up to the new plastic ones.
It looks like the ones we were sitting in were like this.
No, they were these ones.
Oh.
That's probably.
Up to the monster.
The newspaper the next day, and they want to interview him, but when he pops up, they say, "Are you okay, sir?" And he says, "I'm fine, but I do want to know one thing: how far away do you have to sit in this place to be safe from Ted Williams?" So they measured it. It was 502 feet away from home plate, and nobody has matched that since. When the benches were replaced in 1984. Fenway.
Welcome to the Monster.
So cool.
The story of the Green Monster and these seats I thought was pretty fascinating. The wall was basically just a wall covered in advertisements as part of the park's construction in 1912. Supposedly put up by the Red Sox owner to block people from getting a free view of the game from the neighboring windows and rooftops. And back then it was just called The Wall. In 1926 there was a devastating fire in the ballpark, and astonishingly it didn't get fully reconstructed until 1934. The wall got updated as well with a concrete base and a hand-operated scoreboard, which is still used today. Although it didn't get that famous green-colored coat of paint until 1947. I wonder just how long it actually took after that to get the nickname transforming from the wall to the Green Monster. Now onto the seats. You see, back then it was just a wall, and it wasn't until new owners in 2003 experimented with the renovation of the top section of the wall, adding 269 seats selling for $50 a piece. Well, obviously that turned out to be a great idea, and tickets are now so popular that they can range from $100 to closer to $1,000 depending on the time of the year and the game. We're up on the Monster!
Up on the Green Monster. What an incredible grand finale to the tour. Can't stress enough how awesome this tour was. It was $25 per person. Supposed to be an hour. We went to full 75 minutes. Worth every minute. We got to walk every nook and cranny of this ball field, and it was incredible. I wish we were staying for a full game next time. Oh, here's the RVs over here.
Yep. Wait, you thought we were gonna forget about the cannolis? Oh no.
If there's anything that's better than going out and getting cannolis in Little Italy in Boston, it's doing that and then bringing them home and eating them in your pajamas with your puppies. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, here's the lowdown on cannolis. Aaron likes them. I typically don't like them, and the reason is because I have much more of a rich sweet tooth. I like my stuff sugary. If I'm gonna have dessert, I want it to be super sugary. Anyway, I ended up getting three different cannolis. Are you ready to see them? First and foremost, we got a plain ricotta. Why? Because you gotta know what you're dealing with at a base level. That's probably not ideal to cut them in half, but we're cutting them in half. I think that normally you want to just take that bite and like feel that break in your mouth, but we're going splitsies, right? Second, we did the Florentine, which is this one, and this one I got for me. This one I think is a little bit sweeter.
I heard that one's really sweet.
So we got the plain one because I think Aaron will really love that one. I think that I'll really love this sweet one. That way we both get like what we would choose. I got us an espresso, which I think we'll equally be excited about. Aaron, how do you react to that?
How much caffeine is in that?
Zero caffeine.
That was a joke.
0 calories. 0 nothing.
Did you say 0 calories?
Ooh, that one cut a lot cleaner.
I'm eating behind the camera.
Aaron always makes me do the dirty work.
We're eating at the same time.
That's pretty good. And the shell is extra, it's like fried hard.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, based on a plain cannelloni.
It's a cannoli.
Oh, okay, cut that out. I will say that out of all the cannolis I've ever had, this is the best cannoli. And it's actually pretty sweet on its own.
It is kind of sweet, actually.
I don't know what they do to the shell on this Florentine, but it definitely looks like it's...
Oh, it's got honey on it. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it looks like it's glazed in sugar. And I am a honey addict. I love honey.
It's just good. It's got good flavor all around.
I would give this cannoli a 10 out of 10.
The edge.
It worked. I'm a cannoli fan. Okay, last but not least, espresso. Because who doesn't like to end their indulging day with some coffee, right? Oh, that's interesting. If you don't like coffee, don't get it. I happen to love coffee, and I think it's delicious.
It's really good.
I actually like all three of these. If I had to pick one, I would pick the Florentine, then I'd pick the espresso, then I'd pick plain.
Agreed.
We'll go with that. And one thing I wanted to share about this trip, so on a lot of our city trips, you know, at the very end, we'll say, we have a list of things that we'll do next time. Well, that's the beautiful thing about going back to a city for a repeat time. Like, this was not our first time in Boston. And today, we did a really good job of doing things that were on our next time list. And we did it. Like, we're actually doing our next time list. How fun is that, right?
This is Mike's pastry. Good stuff.
Somebody ate all of your cannoli beans.
We're rolling.
Now, here's a little story I've got to tell about three bad brothers you know so well. It started way back in history with Ad Rock, MCA, and me, Mike D.
Are you going to say the Paul Revere part? That's the connection, otherwise nobody's going to know what you're talking about.
That's what we talked about.
I know, but nobody's going to know what you're talking about.
Oh, that's really good. Ever wonder where the name Irene Iron Travels comes from? It's actually named after my online fitness and nutrition coaching business, Irene Iron Fitness. I help people move better, feel better, and eat better with strength training and real food. No fad diets, no harsh restrictions, no counting calories, and absolutely no processed food in a package. If you want to get stronger and feel better at any age, check the description below for the links with my new client special, or join in on our next and upcoming group challenge. How sweet it is to be loved by you, by you, by you.